Okay, so to make this, I'm going to shoot this in real time so you can see how easy it is, even including the instruction. But there's first thing you're going to need to get a few things. Permanent marker. I've got a 3-gallon feed pan and a bucket. This is actually a Tractor Supply bucket. I don't get anything from Tractor Supply. The main reason I use these is they're food grade and they have easy to remove lids. So you're going to need a bucket and a lid that's in good shape, whether it's brand new or just reusing one of the ones that you already have on hand. And you'll need a drill bit. You can use a paddle bit or spade bit, whichever one you want to call this style, or if you actually have one, a step bit. Benefit of this is if you want to go up in size, it's easier because it's already just uses the original hole as a pilot hole and then just kind of increases the size for you. Whereas if you want to go to a larger size with a spade bit, you have to kind of mess with centering it. So what you want to do is just turn this upside down, turn your bucket upside down in your pan, figure out how high you want your water level to be, and I'm going to just go right above this lip here. This is a personal preference. I have one of the reasons why I want to use this style drinker, and I'm going to do some other ones too, is I have cats and dogs and things like that in addition to my chickens that are going to drink out of this. So I want to make sure that it's high enough for all of the animals. Okay, so there's a 3/8 hole. Like I said, if I want to go up to even a ½ inch on this one, I would just poke it in even further. So we'll set this on the ground. Go ahead and fill it up to your whatever size or whatever height your hole is. Secure your lid, and then all you have to do is turn it upside down. You'll see the water will just keep on going out and out and out until it reaches a point of equilibrium. That's the other thing too, is if you wanted it to go fill a little faster, just put a bigger hole in it. There you go, that fills better, fills faster. And if you're gonna have it on a slightly uneven surface, which a lot of people will anyway, make sure that you put your hole on the downhill side. That way the water level will be a little bit higher on that side. Speaking of, there's one of the kitties now. Hey, Georgie. Now this has taken a lot of water just to fill up the size pan that we've got. There's one of the other kitties. There's Patches. Say hi, Patches. If you wanted to just fill the bucket up, you can pull it out and leave water in the pan, and you won't have to wait for this part to fill up. Now, as long as you've got the hole above the rim of your pan, once the water level gets to where it's covering your hole, it'll stop flowing. Okay, so here's this is the automatic filling style adjustable water kit that I found. So this does not come with the bucket or lid or whatever, but it comes with the float, and this one actually comes with drinker cups, and let's see, there's the elbow for off of here, and then an adapter from the elbow to a garden hose, so that you could just hook up a garden hose to it. So I've never done one of these before, but I have a watering bucket that has horizontal drinking nipples on it already. So I won't be doing these here. So we'll just be focusing on installing the float. So what this calls for is a 3/4 inch bit, and what they're saying is, I've already got water in here, so I'm going to dump some of this out, but it's saying about between 4 and 6 inches from the top. So I'm just going to use my hand roughly there, we'll call it, and go ahead and do our hole for the okay. So there we've got a nice 3/4 inch hole. We take off the nut and the washer. Actually, the washer can stay on because it's saying it has to be on the inside. So this is a tight enough hole, you have to twist it, thread it on. So I'm just using light pressure and threading it through from the inside. Okay, so we got some good pressure there. Go ahead and reinstall this. I'm sure this is going to call for Teflon tape, but I don't have any with me. I mean, I have some. I'll grab it. But I just want to test the fit. So that's where the Teflon tape would come in. You change that angle there. Hook this up, and it's actually there's a little plastic wing nut in here, so you can change we'll actually change it to a relatively vertical level, so that when I hook up a hose here, we'll see if it shuts itself off. Just a little bit here. I do actually like, one thing I've noticed is that in between, let's see if we can see here, in between these two pieces, when you undo, you can see that there's actually teeth. So when it's putting pressure with the wing nut, it's not smooth, and so it's less of a chance that it's going to strip out or anything like that. So that seems to be decent. So let's turn it on and see if it works. So it's filling up. It seems like it's not shutting off instantly, which that's not a big deal as long as it does shut off. You can still hear a slight amount of water coming in. Okay, well, it seems like it's shut off. I mean, you can still tell that you need to put some Teflon on these threads, but even with 50 pounds of pressure on the line, it doesn't seem like it's too much for this mechanism here, at least. So the only thing we need to do now is actually just tighten up those fittings there with some Teflon tape, and I'll go ahead and do that now. Okay, so I've got my Teflon tape here. I've seen that there's multiple float designs. It looks like this same float without any kind of elbow or hose adapter looks to be $8, and I think if you get both of them together, that's somewhere around $10. And then you get the kit. Excuse me, Patches. If you get the kit with the drinking cups and everything like that, let's see if that leaks without it having full tension on it. I think it was $16 for all of this that I got. So like I said, I've got a bucket that already has horizontal drinking nipples. So this is an option with just the float and the hookups. And like I said, you can hard line this stuff in too, if you wanted to use like irrigation line or something like that instead of a garden hose. So depending on what you got. So let's put pressure back on the line. And that's good. There's no leaks anywhere, so the Teflon tape is holding. So that's good. We've fixed our leaks here. And like I said, when that float is in the highest position, even on 50 psi line, there's no need to have any kind of reducer or anything like that. So it's shutting off really well. And like I said, you can have this to be adjustable to whatever. That's not even the highest setting. Let's see what the highest setting is here. The highest setting, turn back on. Yeah, a pregnant kitty here needs some attention. Okay, so it does have a pretty slow, gradual shut off, it seems like. It's not a bad thing, as long as it shuts off eventually. So I would say all in all, that's a pretty good little system. Okay, so it's starting to get windy. I apologize for the noise, but I wanted to just do a side-by-side with both of these. I think both of them have their place, and I'll just kind of hit on the positive and negatives that I see in both of these. So on this one over here, the gravity-fed one, I would say definitely a positive is simplicity, and it's cheaper. So you have to have a bucket and a lid for both of those, so that's a wash. In here, this pan was a $9 pan, where I got it at my local feed store. I think the same thing at Tractor Supply, which is probably more prevalent with people, is they charge $10 for this pan. So you're looking at about $15 when you factor in bucket, lid, and the pan, and then plus tax. And all you have to do is you drill a single hole and you're done. Another thing I like about this is that for the most part, you can still use this bucket, because the hole isn't all the way up to the top. You can still use this bucket for liquids up to that height, and you can use it for dry carrying and things like that. I wouldn't use it for storage because you've got a hole in it and now bugs and stuff can get in there. And then the pan is completely unaltered, so you can use that pan when you're not using the waterer. You can break those parts into two separate usable parts, and they function independent of the waterer, and you can bring them together. So I would say versatility definitely is a positive for this one. Negative is you have to constantly refill it whenever it gets low. So that's pretty much the only one downside. Another positive is this can go somewhere that you don't necessarily have a water supply where you can get to it with a hose. So lots of positives on this one. And again, cost is about $15. So for over here, we've got the cost of the bucket, roughly $5, the tractor supply plus tax, whatever. And the float, like I said, just the float itself is about $8. And then I think if you need to get these two pieces, that's like $10 online. I just bought mine off of eBay. And then if you don't have drinkers already, or don't already do a drinker bucket, then they have the option of getting the drinker cups in addition to that. And that was $16 plus tax, free shipping. So positives on this one is you don't have to worry about filling it back up. I would say with anything, you want to definitely check your equipment and make sure that it's operating properly. So every once in a while, give it a good shake, test the float, make sure that it's not getting gummed up with algae or anything like that. And you want to definitely wash these buckets out every once in a while, because there's going to get some kind of stagnant levels of water in here. And so you won't have to change the water. And cost is going to be pretty close to the same. I mean, $20, $21 or something like that if you go with the cups and everything. Patches, good grief. $21 with cups and everything, whereas that one is about $15. One of the downsides of this is it's pretty much a waterer at this point. You've got a 3/4 inch hole further down on the side. You could still use the bucket, but when you drill the holes for the drinkers, I don't know that you're going to want to necessarily be using a bucket that has drinking cups or water nipples or something like that on the outside. There's some chickens, my Icelandic chickens, using that water there. So utility is lower with this one. It's pretty much specified. Downside is you have to be close enough to where you've got a water source. So if it's close to your house, like this one, I'm gonna have this over at my my main chicken coop over here, most likely, and it'll be in an area where lots of animals can get to it. Lots of chickens at least can get to it. Like I said, another utility that I talked about when I made this one is that I've got my cats that come around, my dog comes around, and they drink out of something. So having a nice fresh source for them is also good. Whereas this one, it's pretty much just a poultry waterer at this point. But I really like the float. I like the automatic aspect of it. So again, they both have their ups and downs, and it's up to, I guess, the user to decide which one is more useful for their setup and go with that. I think it's actually good to have both of them. I think it's worth having both of them on hand. And if you think about how much a 5-gallon waterer from like Miller Manufacturing or something like that would cost, they're like $30 something dollars. So even in this one, you're about half the price. As far as the same usable, you have to refill it on your own, and then you're about 2/3 the price here, and you'd have an automatic one. So let me know what you guys think. Please, if this was a helpful video, give us a thumbs up, or give us a subscription would help, and turn on the notification bell, and see what future videos we come out with. Thanks for joining us.